Welcome back to the channel, guys, and welcome to part 2 of 44 rules for D&D. We posted part 1 earlier this week, so if you haven't seen that, please go check it out. Link will be in the description. But what happened basically is someone posted to Reddit. Their DM made 44 rules that govern his Dungeons and Dragons games, and everyone was talking about how awful of a DM they were and all that. There were a couple of comments in there that I agree with, that a lot of these rules aren't all that bad. It's just the way that they're, talked about. It's the DM's tone rather than his rules. And so I've been going through each rule and giving a little bit of feedback about how, as a DM and a player, I feel about this. Now, we got through number 22 in the last video, so today we're going to do number 23 through 44. Again, if you like this content, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and we're doing a great job. But without further ado, let's get to the rules, part 2. Rule number 23. I will not give you random magical items, and vendors will not stock them. They are meant to be rare and hard to acquire. It's very apparent from this list that the DM is not a big fan of combat in D&D and really wants there to be more role-playing. And while I do definitely agree that that is a perfectly valid want to have in the game, the magical items, yes, if you give too many, it can cause problems, but it is something, it rewards the players for their efforts. And it's definitely one of those things where they feel more powerful, they're willing to try more things, but, also, it's part of the game. People want magical items. And if it's going to be like, this is a low magic campaign, there aren't going to be a lot of magical items, that's fine, but you need to make that clear from the start. This is why session zeros are so important. Rule number 24. Random encounters in the form of random dragons or strange mysterious road trader or a band of goblin prostitutes isn't going to happen. Go play Baldur's Gate 3. Again, it's clear that this DM wants it to be a very RP heavy, very serious game. And I encourage this DM to go and find people that share that sentiment in how they want to game. But we hear about it a lot in these, in RPG horror stories and whatnot, that people come in having never played D&D and they want Critical Role. They want Baldur's Gate 3. And that's the thing, is you have to understand who your audience is, what they're looking for, and if you can, not only can you provide that experience, but can you enjoy it yourself, as your enjoyment as the DM also matters. But the key is to just find the right group that wants to play the game that you want to DM. Otherwise, there's always going to be unhappiness. The group's either going to be mad that they're not getting the experience they want, or the DM is going to be mad that they're not getting to tell the story they want, and it doesn't work on either level. And again, it's a very valid point, it's a very valid rule, but at the same time, the DM tells it in a very hostile way, in a way that's I am the DM, I have the power here, you will do as I say, and that just doesn't really work. Rule number 25. I don't give two fucks what Reddit said about X or Y ruling. This one's just bad. This one's lazy DMing. I encourage my players, if they think I've made a bad ruling, let me know. It might not change the ruling, but I want to grow as a DM. I want to take viewpoints that, hey, I never considered that before. And this going, hey, I heard people did it this way, or that so-and-so ruled it this way. What do you think about that? Is perfectly valid. And the fact that anytime someone disagrees with you, you as the DM seem to be of the mindset to tell them to just shut the fuck up, is very lazy and very bad DMing, especially when these are supposed to be your friends. Rule number 26. I actually give less of a fuck about what your mates and group did. Again, this is just him not being willing to grow as a dungeon master. It's hey, I've heard people do it this way. Have we tried maybe doing it this way? I mentioned way back for the first rule how I had considered doing I'm gonna time your turns, and I had considered that rule as well. But you know what I ended up doing is I saw a video on TikTok about a guy who was no, we do group initiative, where it's the goodies, It's the party, and then it's the baddies. And that's the thing, is that whoever rolls higher, that group gets to go first, but it's like everybody goes at once. So it caused my players to start interacting, start planning out their strategy, like, okay, you do this, then I'll do this. And we didn't have to time the rolls because people started, getting involved. But I never would have considered doing that had I not been open to other people's ideas, both on the internet and just from people I know that have also played. And this guy's not interested. He wants to do things his way, and anyone else who wants to do anything differently can fuck right off. And that's just not a good way to be in life or D&D.
Rule number 27. Saying anything to me about other players not liking me doing X or Y without them saying it directly to me will result in me kicking you out of the group. Don't use someone else to push your own agenda.
I mean, again, I think kicking someone out of the group for this is kind of a bit of overkill, but I agree. If you've got a problem with something, you can tell the DM yourself, or if someone else has a problem with something, they can tell the DM themselves. I understand not everyone is as confident in confrontation, but the idea is that either you can express yourself and you can be direct about it and you can be like, hey, I have a problem with this, or you can shut the fuck up, honestly. So while I think this one he's a bit too harsh, I do agree with the sentiment.
Rule 28. You're not to sit down and have a 2-hour discussion about what Samson from Bundura Secondary did 3 weeks ago when you come to play. Take the 15 to 20 minutes I use to set up and review my notes to talk to each other. Then sit down and play.
Look, as a fellow DM, I know that getting players to focus is like herding cats, but at the same time, this is a social experience. This is people getting together to have fun and spend time together. And if for some reason 1 week people aren't feeling it, they just want to sit and shoot the shit, cool. But again, this guy seems to be less about the spending time with people and more about being the epic master dungeon master who is the greatest storytelling dungeon master of our time. It's like, dude, clearly if you're the only one that's given a fuck about your story, either read the room or get a different group.
Rule 29. Saying shit like, guys, come on, we're not here to have fun, we're here to play D&D. This is serious business. Is rude and dismissive of how much work I put into this. I will simply go home if I hear this shit.
Dude, that's the entire vibe this list is given, that it's like it's not about fun, it's about
we must play the D&D because I wish to play the D&D and you will all play the D&D with me.
This is like pot, meat, kettle. I guarantee when his players are telling them this, are saying this, they're mocking him, and that's why it hurts his fifis so much.
Rule 30. Don't fucking order food randomly. We will eat together at a specific time or not at all. I don't want food shit all over my things.
Okay, like, if the DM were hosting in his own home, I would respect this rule. But it's made very clear that the DM is coming to someone else's place to do this D&D, and you do not get to dictate when and how other people eat when it is not your home, all right? You might be the dungeon master, but you are not the king of the world. D&D takes hours. People get hungry. Stop trying to, this is not the military. You don't get to control when everything happens.
Rule number 31. No food or drinks near any of my D&D gear. If you wreck something, you can pay for it. I let one person trash my DM screen once, and I never had it replaced by them. In fact, I had that person attempt to gaslight me into believing they didn't wreck my shit at all. I'm not stupid. You're an adult. Accept responsibility.
Again, you don't want food anywhere near your D&D stuff. That's a firm and solid boundary. All right, people. And if someone does ruin somebody else's stuff, then yeah, it is their responsibility to pay to replace it. The big thing here is that you're just kind of being a dick. Like, none of these guys, from what I can tell, wrecked your shit. That was somebody else, and you're acting like they're gonna do it. And you know what? It's just, again, stop throwing a little tantrum. You can be nice when you say, hey, I don't want food or drink near my stuff. Again, to be perfectly honest, I don't think the DM considers these people to be their friends. Like, I would never talk to my friends this way.
Rule 32. Arguments between party members outside of roleplay will be resolved by me giving the definitive ruling. If you don't like it, fuck off back home.
Again, this is like, you're just trying to like assert yourself as the king of this little domain, of this little bit of power you have, and you're trying to take away, this is taking away agency. If people want to argue, let them argue. Like, don't let it derail the game. But again, don't be like, I'm making a ruling and you don't get to argue against me. Meh, meh, meh. You can fuck off home. Dude, you can fuck off home. This isn't even your house. We've established this.
Rule 33. I don't give a fuck what they did in Critical Role or what that one guy on Reddit said, or if you think that it's all make-believe so you can do what you want. The world I run works on internal rulings and lore I created specifically for it.
I mean, yeah, you and every other DM that homebrews a world, my dude, but you can also be a little bit adaptable and you can be open to discussion and open to trying new things, not just, this is the game that I laid out. If you don't like it, you can get out. And I will totally leave your ass to walk home because my fifis got hurt. Also, this is kind of just a repeat of an earlier rule. Like, I get where you're coming from. Too many people come into D&D expecting it to be Critical Role or whatnot, but dude, be open to having fun and be open to changing some things around if it's like, I never thought of it that way.
Rule 34. If it exists, there is porn of it.
No, that's not the rule here.
Rule 34. Every single person in this chat is having debuffs applied to their characters that should have occurred a long time ago. This will be specific to characters.
Again, man, if there's like a narrative reason for this to occur, go for it. If it's just because you don't like having to scale your encounters based on how strong the party is, I mean, that's kind of a you problem. Don't be mean to every people. People put a lot of time and effort into their characters. Like, give a reason for the debuffs or just be better. You can always add hit points to a creature.
Rule 35. If you don't bring your sheet, you don't play.
I mean, yeah, you can't really play without your character sheet. I mean, unless he's saying you can't even have like a picture of the sheet, like it's got to be the physical paper sheet, then that's a little weird. But I mean, yeah, how do you play a character if you don't have your sheet?
Rule 36. If you don't bring dice, borrow some.
I mean, yeah, people normally have extra dice, but I mean, I also have people who have used dice rolling apps because they don't feel like carrying around dice. So I don't know. I could go either way on this one.
Rule 37. When we play D&D, I'm not your friend. That doesn't mean you treat me like an enemy during the game. It means I'm no longer being nice.
Honestly, dude, I don't really think you're their friend during, before, or after the game. I think you're just a sad little person who wants to be king of the D&D.
Rule 38. If you treat me poorly in any way, shape, or form after or during or before the game due to something that happened in-game, you're out. If you cannot separate a game from reality, I think you are a fucking moron, and I have little time to deal with that energy.
I mean, on the surface, this one, despite being a little rude at the end, seems perfectly fine. I mean, yeah, if someone can't differentiate what happened in-game versus out-of-game, that's some craziness. You don't want that. What do I want to believe, though, that if like someone is being mean to this guy based on his attitude or personality, that he's going to be like, no, you're just mad that I didn't give you all the loot. You're out of my game. Meh, 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 meh. Like, I feel like it's if it happened in game, but it's because you were being just a douche to your friends rather than it actually being in game and more just you being a douche, then that's perfectly valid. But I feel like you've made this rule so that you can be a dick in game and then hide behind, I'm the DM, it's what my world would do.
Rule 39. You will submit your spell list daily in game. If you do not give me a spell list each in-game day, you will not be allowed to cast a single spell or cantrip in combat. I do not trust you guys to not use this against me.
What do you mean against you? Do you not trust your own players to not cheat at D&D? Do you really believe it's like you versus them, that this isn't like a group experience to have fun? Is this really you versus the players? What the fuck, man? D&D is all about trust, and if you don't trust your players or your players don't trust you as the DM, what are you even doing?
Rule 40. If you do not mark off spell slots or you say something like, I remember what I'm at as a way to justify it, I will simply fail your spell, deal half your health and damage to you, and say you have no spells to cast for the rest of the day.
Again, why are you having such a little pissy little temper tantrum over how other people play their characters? I get it. Sometimes that guys use this stuff to kind of try and get stuff over on other people to win the D&D. But like, come on, like just making this like the half damage and no spells is just, it's too much.
Rule 41. If you break literally anything, you can buy the replacement that day or not attend till you do.
I mean, seems a little harsh, but on the other hand, yeah, you break it, you replace it. That's, I don't know. I feel like this one might be justified.
Rule 42. If you complain about the choice of music, I fully expect you to bring the whole playlist the next session or shut the fuck up.
Dude, don't threaten him with a good time. That one might fire back on you. It's like, oh yes, now this creepy dungeon music has been replaced by Aqua!
Rule 43. Cannot stress enough how little I care about how you feel about my rulings from now on.
Well, that's good to know, because we're going to ignore them. Again, these are supposed to be your friends. You're supposed to care. You're supposed to get along. I don't know why you are so antagonistic as a DM. If interacting with other people is such a burden to you, just stop playing. It doesn't seem like you're having fun with it.
Oh, and Rule 44. I'm never just threatening you. I'm promising you.
Ooh, looks like we got a badass here. And you know what? That's the list, guys. I feel like the longer this list went, the more off the rails it went, and the less I actually had to say about it, because it went from like, okay, I can see both points, to like, no, this is just baby throwing a temper tantrum, which is why this video is a little bit shorter than the previous one. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining. If you liked this content and want to see more of it, please be sure to tell me in the comments. Please be sure to click that like button, and again, please do subscribe, as we are trying to reach that 1,000 subscriber goal. Also, if you would like to help the channel monetarily, you can join the Patreon, become a channel member, make a one-time PayPal donation, or head on over to eBay and Mercari and check out my custom miniatures. Links to all this are in the description. And until next time, everybody, I'm Mr. Sean, this is Chimera Miniatures,
and I hope you have a great day and an even better tomorrow. Bye-bye.